Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily and today I am going to be ranking and reviewing the Hunger Games trilogy? It's not really a trilogy, but so I have read the Hunger Games twice through now. I've watched the movies multiple times. I have absolutely loved it every single time. I have revisited the series, and now with like the resurgence, I absolutely have like fallen in love again with it, and like I want to reread it, but like I literally only reread it last year. So like, and it was like towards the end of last year, so I don't think another reread is really due, but anyway, at least maybe, I don't know. I've got so many books to read, I can't just add another like rewatch. Let's start off. Everyone knows what the series is all about. The series is about a girl named Katniss, and she lives in District 12 after like some kind of war. You've got like 13 districts as well as the capital, and pretty much the capital controls the districts, and each district is known for one thing or another, such as like District 12 is for mining, yada yada. Anyway, since there was a like whole kind of rebellion that happened quite a few years ago, the capital decided to punish the districts by putting them through like a like this murder trial thing. So pretty much a whole bunch of kids from each district, one boy, one girl from each district, would end up getting casted into an arena, which then they have to fight to the death until there was one ultimate survivor, and that survivor ends up winning a whole bunch of money and wealth, and pretty much does not have to worry about ever being in the Hunger Games again, nor did I have to worry about money or poverty anymore. And that's like their reward for like going along with the capital. So now that we know roughly what the Hunger Games is, yeah, Katniss, as we know, she gets her sister gets casted and she volunteers, and that was seen as an act of rebellion, and so forth, and the story digresses, and it's a really good story, and I don't think a lot of people understand it enough. Anyway, so I'm going to start from the bottom and then work my way to the top. Luckily though, the story actually, like my ranking, actually follows the series. So book number 4, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was not the biggest fan of this book. It was like I understood the sentiment of what Suzanne Collins was trying to achieve with this book. I think she just wanted to give the fans like some sort of history, some sort of understanding as to what Snow's character was like. And I think there could have been so many more things that Collins could have picked for a sequel or like a prequel book. And I understand like this kind of shows how Snow made the games how they are today, how we see them, how the districts and the capital are so like sucked into it. But it's just, I don't know, it just didn't come across as well as what I think Suzanne Collins was hoping it would be. But I digress. I would have loved to have seen maybe doing something with like Haymitch's backstory, because we don't really get a lot of that, and I reckon having to watch Haymitch having to go through and try and wait out like 40 something kids to die out before he dies, or like before someone could get to him, it would be so traumatic, and just watching it happen and like even reading it happen would be so cool. Except like in the main books we only really get Haymitch like kind of drunken and not really coherent, and kind of tells us a little bits and pieces. And I reckon like a story about Haymitch's games would have been absolutely brilliant, and I think this was not it, I would say. Anyway, so the story, as I said, we are following Snow, and pretty much it's the 10th Hunger Games. He's a mentor-ish, because they haven't really established what like, because it's like the 10th Hunger Games, I haven't really established any members from other districts who may not have won to be mentors. And these mentors, well, it's like interns. They're interns, so they're having to help their district pretty much go through the Hunger Games and win. And I think the thing I didn't like is that District 12 female won in that one, and she ended up disappearing and never seeing her ever again. But I don't know, I felt like it was too coincidental. I think I would have rather Lucy Gray actually losing in some capacity and having it impact Snow in that capacity, maybe. I don't know. It just, her winning just seemed a bit too on the nose a little. And especially also him being picked, a female from District 12, to be her mentor. It just felt a little too on the nose, and this, and I think it's way too long. It's bigger than, like, if we compare the size, like, this is Mockingjay, the last book, and compare the size a little bit, you can see, and even then, like, it's taller, so a lot more words. It's so much bigger, and I just didn't think that this needed to be so long as well. And it was just, I think I wanted to DNF it at one point because it was just kind of getting a bit boring, a little bit too, yeah, it wasn't quick as like the Hunger Games is. Anyway, sorry. Tangent over. Now, in number 3, we have Mockingjay. So this is the last book in the trilogy side of things, so not the extra prequel. So this was pretty much the demise of the Capitol, and we love it. We absolutely love it. I think I just loaded a bit because I think you're dealing with like the PTSD of side of things, and you're kind of just wanting this pain to be over with the characters and everything, and it does eventually. And I understand when people say that Katniss should not have had kids at the end. Like, I get that, because like throughout the, I think, first book or the second book, she's like, I do not want kids. Like, I've never wanted kids. Like, I don't want to have kids, knowing that they could go into the Hunger Games. And like, I could get that, but because the Hunger Games isn't there, she feels at peace that knowing that if she did have kids, that they were never going to go and live those tortures. And also the fact that it's like, she's also saying like, my kids don't, like, they can hear our nightmares, but they don't know. And there's peace in the sense that they will never know why their parents are having those nightmares. And it's just, I don't know, it just kind of gives you that bittersweet kind of sense of peace. Like, you know that those kids will be fine, but the parents are still struggling with it, and it's just one of those things. And I think it's a really lovely way to tie it off. Just a really big fan of how like they made like the Capitol and arena. It kind of made a full circle as well. So that definitely just a little bit slower for me with the Mockingjay, but overall still a good book. Number 2, we have Catching Fire. Katniss and Peeta find themselves again in the 75th Quarter Quell. It was pretty good. I think for my core pile rating, I rated this like a little bit higher than Mockingjay, but it was still pretty good. I think it just felt a little bit repetitive based on like the Hunger Games book, and just you're going through it again, you're going through the trauma again, you're going through everything that's all the same, except that no one in the Hunger Games wants to go back in, and you can tell that. And yeah, and it was just very sad with Mags and just some other of the characters. It was just very, it was a good story, and definitely leads very well into Mockingjay and the discovery of District 13, which also plays a massive part in Mockingjay, which I was hoping that District 13 would be more like of the sanctuary, and they wouldn't want to fall for the same traps as the Capitol went through with hosting like a Hunger Games, and even Katniss saying yes to having another Hunger Games. No, it's not her. And like, you can't say, oh, because of revenge for Prim. No, because that was not the Capitol who launched those rockets onto the children. No, I'm sorry. That is not Katniss to say yes to another Hunger Games. Unless, yeah, I don't know. Urgh. And sorry, number 1 is the Hunger Games, the first book, the OG. The love that everyone has for this book is astounding. Like, I love it so much, and it's just so good, so traumatic, and you just like, your heart's there for Katniss and just trying to figure out how she's gonna get out of this. Like, you know she's gonna be for survival. You know that, and you know that she's going to do whatever she can to get home to Prim and to look after her family. But at the same time, it's like, you have to win all this triumph, but at the same time, you're coming home with so much trauma and PTSD and just everything. Like, I could not imagine how traumatic that could be. And that's like kind of the point of the books, is but not like trauma porn or anything like that. It's proving a point that like the government, like not our government per se, but just like governments can hold this power over people, and they could become like these dictatorships that can force people into doing things that they don't want to do, or they can't do. And like the Hunger Games is like a form of like just like silencing people to not have their own voice, because if they have their own voice, they could die, their kids could die in this traumatic experience. And the capital people who don't even have to deal with the trauma of these games are watching this as a sport, and it's just like showing how people, these like having these poor people having like a spectacle to the capital. Like they're helping these kids because they're giving them a chance to win wealth for them and their family, but it's not that at all. Anyway, so I absolutely love the series. I would highly recommend this to any YA adult. I feel like anyone at any, or other than like probably younger than 12, probably would be able to learn so much from these books, and I would recommend them to anyone who wants a good like dystopian recommendation. Because I mean, also if you are getting into dystopian, I feel like Hunger Games is like a good kind of starting point, because it's based so much in the real world that you could see something like that happening, and that's sad. And the point of those books is that it's showing that. Anyway, and I feel like that's my 2 cents on the series. I absolutely love it and recommend it to anyone. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy this. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see more. Comment down below what your favorite Hunger Games book is. I maybe should do a video of this, like ranking the Hunger Games movies, especially after the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes comes out, because that should be coming out I think later this year. And it's got some good cast as well in there too, so hopefully it'll be good. Better than the book maybe, and hopefully round it out a bit more to the series itself. And maybe hopefully we could get a Hamish movie, who knows. Next week I should hopefully be doing my March wrap up. If not, I don't know what I will be doing. Maybe another ranking and reviewing, probably. That sounds pretty good. So either that or either one, we'll see. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye!